and welcome to Tech Tips with Sold Out Media. I'm Amanda, and I'm by myself, except for Linus is behind the camera. All right, so today I'm actually going to give a really quick review of the Panasonic Lumix GH5 Mark II. I actually borrowed this camera from one of the suppliers that we know around here because there is a group in another part of the world that wanted the tutorial with this camera, and so I borrowed it, and yesterday I did an online talk about how to set this camera up. But I've had it for a week or two and actually was so shocked at how much I really enjoyed using this camera that I thought I would give you guys just a little review about it. It's been out for a year and lots of other people have reviewed it. In fact, the reason why I recommend it to this particular group to actually buy this camera was I was so impressed with what the Geeky Nerdy Techie, the YouTube channel, I think his name is Shane, what he's actually done with these cameras. So really easy to use, really easy to get used to. Let's hop into my impressions of the camera real quick. As far as one of the things I loved about it, especially for beginners in videography and photography, is there is still so much of the menu dials that are right at your hands. It's not like, I think some of the more cheaper cameras that you could get are a lot more touchscreen centric, and then you really have to think hard about what menus you're going for. But when I was teaching these guys, I was able to show them, you know, look at these buttons on the top here, white balance and ISO. Those things you always have to make sure you take care of when you're shooting a clip or you're doing something for your group. And again, too, being able to custom some of these buttons, it's just a phenomenal camera. I'll go through the menu settings a little bit in another video, but maybe just highlight one or two things here. One in particular is when you're on the menu, there's a little button called Display. And if you're highlighting something in the menu, if you're highlighting something in the menu and you click on Display, it tells you exactly what that menu option is. Now, coming from using Canon for years and using Sony now more recently, those menus are really complicated. And if you don't really know what it is that you're looking for, it could be very daunting. But like these guys, you can click on just about everything in the menu and it will tell you what exactly it is. I was so impressed with this. Now, we did a couple of tests, just like we normally do with all the other cameras. And I have them here, and I'd like to show you some of the basic stuff and why this is such an impressive camera. In Sweden, it comes in at like 16,000 Swedish crowns. So I imagine it probably comes in close to $1,500 US without a lens. But for the price, very impressive. First thing I'll show you is how easy it is to use the focus assist. So check this out. Start the recording. And then now, so we're going to go into menu. We're going to go to the focus menu. And we're going to go to focus peaking. We're going to go to set focus peaking. Because here we can pick all kinds of different lovely colors. Show blue. And let's see here. Quote. I'm going to put it on manual. Did I not set it right? Oh, of course. Didn't say it. There we go. So now, then if I go into the focus peaking menu again, I can go set again. I can take a different color like green, for example. There, menu. There we go. But then if I put on autofocus now, it should still be there when I press the button. When I press the autofocus button, whoopsie, I pressed record. But when I hold down the autofocus button, than my peaking shows, even though I'm on autofocus, not manual focus. Cool? I thought so too. All right, and I think a natural segue from the focus assist is actually to look at the autofocus tracking. Now, I tested 2 different autofocus tracking modes in the camera. I tested the human subject mode or face mode. I also tested the tracking mode. But I know a lot of people have actually suggested the sort of point and then plus mode. I'll show you that right here because it gives you a little bit wider area to focus. But let's take a look. I'll show you first the what do you say? First, the tracking mode. And now take a look at the face mode, or the human subject mode, which you could also use as an animal mode. Oh, one thing I can say about this, the tracking mode was absolute garbage compared to the human mode. So if you're gonna trace moving subjects like people, I would definitely use the human mode or the square plus mode, because it's a lot more natural at finding the eye and finding the right focus, and it holds the subject way better. Not only that, but you can lock onto the subject, like you can actually click on the square on the screen and lock on your target with those 2 modes. Where I might be tempted to use the tracking mode is maybe like when we do cooking shows and you're just tracking somebody's hand on the table, because that's a lot less contrasty movement. This autofocus is based on a contrast sensor rather than on an eye like the Sony is, although the Sony might have contrast in it too. All right, we did 2 stability tests. We did one where Jake is doing kind of a selfie mode, and we actually had 4 different tests that we did here. Boost on, electronic stabilization on, both boost and electronic stabilization on, and then none on. So let's take a look at Jake. I don't see a really huge difference when I look at the 4 of them here, but check this out. We went back and we did handheld with the camera, just picked a random thing, in this case a piece of a dock, and just held it and tried the same thing. Boost on, electronic stabilization on, both on, and none on. And I was blown away by the results. Okay, so in this case, when you look at both together, it actually looks like nothing in the frame is moving at all. It looks like this thing is on a tripod, and it is so incredibly impressive. I couldn't even believe it. This is such a nice little camera. The stabilization in it is rock solid. You can't even tell. Here, Linus, come on over here, just look real quick. Just look.
Wow.
Right? You guys see it too. Okay, go back to the camera. So really impressed with the results of that in particular. So then we wanted to see if there was a record limit. I'll just play that up for you right here. And This thing went for 1 hour and 21 minutes in a 4K resolution on a 64 gig card. I think it was just the 8-bit, I don't think it was the 10-bit, but without overheating or stopping for any reason whatsoever. So again, incredible. And it's such an easy to use camera. I actually gave it to my son Nathan, and he actually went out and took a couple pictures with it. I'll just show you some of those pictures right here. This camera is so easy that even an 8-year-old could use it. I'm just saying. So for trying to train a group halfway across the world to use this camera was not a big stretch at all. This was really easy to teach people. And again, it has so many nice features. Here's a little bit of the 6K. Now this isn't a true 6K, it's a 499, so it's more like a 5K, but in the camera it's called 6K. See, it's just beautiful. Really nice. For a Micro Four Thirds, I'd actually go out there and on a limb and say I prefer this over the Blackmagic 6K. Now, I have a little clip here. Marcus, we threw him out with some log footage from a bunch of different cameras. We gave him the Lumix here. We gave him the Sony A7R5. We gave him the Canon R5, both in 8K with their log profiles. And we put in the Blackmagic 6K Pro in RAW. And he graded them all to look exactly alike. His only complaint about this is that he felt that the skin tones were a little red. But let me show you here in the menu settings. Bring up my little menu here. You can see you can actually just adjust right in camera where the colors are. You can actually move it up or down, or change your skin tones as you want. So it's not really it's not a big negative that he thinks it's a little red, but it still is comparable to those other big expensive cameras. Yeah, so the white balance is so easy to change actually too. Just if I continue on with that little video where I adjusted the reds, you can actually see here that it's you got all these different custom profiles that you can preset. You have all 4 different Kelvins that you can preset, as well as all the standard things. But what I love the most is in the Kelvin setting, you actually have this scale that shows you where the sun is at and where like a halogen light bulb is at. Super, super easy for teaching people. Loved it. And here's something else it can do. We actually did a little live stream with it. So I'll throw it over to Jake and he can voice this over. But you can actually see here, he did a live stream straight from the camera to his phone straight out on Facebook. And it was kind of cute. Go ahead, check it out.
What you do is you need to pair your phone to your camera, and you do that to the blue range, blue Wi-Fi and Bluetooth. Make sure it's set to set. And then set the pair. Make sure your Bluetooth is on the camera. On the right you see my phone app. The Panasonic Lumix Sync app. You basically just follow the instructions in either the camera and the phone at the same time. And then you go to Wi-Fi setup and enter your password for your Wi-Fi. When everything's synced and logged in, you basically just press start streaming on your phone. The screen turns blue and then you're good to go. And you can see it on the right. There's my Facebook.
All right, so again, awesome with the live stream. I thought that was super cool. If you go over now to the photo styles of this camera, so from not just being able to just do log, it has all kinds of cinema profiles. It has something called Like 709, which is a substitute for Rec 709. So I'll just show you right here. I just go through, I got Jake standing by the lake, and you can just see, I go through all the little profiles here, and you can see for yourself the difference. But really, again, it's so neat. And if you see these little things underneath each of the profile, you can adjust a little bit in the colors and the tonality how you want it to be if you want to change it and save it as a preset. And then I believe you also have presets too that you can put in there. Yeah, you got presets as well that you can make for your profiles. Another great feature of this, in 1080, you can do slow-mo up to 180 frames per second. Super neat. In the higher resolutions, you can only do 50 or 60 depending on whether you're in NTSC or PAL. But let's take a look here at the 180 slow-mo in 1080, the 180 in 1080. They give you a lot of options to play with, this camera. I was so impressed with it. I mean, for all of you out there who right now are like, but Amanda, you like the Canon R. I do, and I'm not selling it. Not anytime soon. It's one of my favorite cameras to go out and shoot with. It permanently has my 70-200 on it, and I go and do all of my like nature photography with it. And again, it shoots every episode. It's looking at me right now. We're using it right now, so it's not going anywhere. But again, for a beginner camera, this is such an awesome option. Now, just to see the grading again, we graded it ourselves without Marcus, and yeah, look. You get great dynamic range with this little camera. It's super impressive. All right, last thing I got to show you here is the pictures. You got to check this out. So I showed you some of Nathan's pictures. Here are some of my pictures that I took with this. I had so much fun. Leica 12-60, but really nice lens. I mean, like the wide shots I got on this, but also like where it's a micro four thirds, that 60 mils gets you further. It's kind of more like a, oh, I'm not going to say, if I say it's like a 75, I guarantee you there's those of you in the comments that are going to be like, it's not, it's more like an 80 mil. Please, have mercy. I just had fun with it. Check this one out here. I got this one with the leaf. I took this one with this camera. I took it also, same picture, same framing, with my Canon R5, and I took it with the iPhone. So here's the three side by side. And again, like, I'm not sad about what came out of this camera. At the same time, let's look here at I did some macro shots of some ice crystals. And look how sharp those are. Like, that's incredibly sharp with those. I did the same with the R5, so you can, like, I tried to get the exact same crystals. But, I mean, just, like, look at how nice this turned out. It's very, very good quality. Yeah, so, I mean, side by side with the Canon, when you zoom in and you look at these ice crystals, it's actually super impressive. It's super cool. Like, for the price and the usability of this camera, I was super happy with the pictures I got. I'll give you one more thing here that we did. So I did shoot in both JPEG and RAW. So let's throw one of these RAW files in and actually test it in Luminar and see what we get for dynamic range here. Super nice. Like, seriously, super nice dynamic range. Overall, really impressed with this camera. Like I said, so yeah, if you guys have any questions or thoughts about this camera, go ahead and leave them in the description, or sorry, in the comment section down below. I just wanted to share with you guys. So again, this wasn't a camera that I was intending to review. I picked it up to help some friends with the settings and had so much fun with it. I wanted to share it with you guys. Excellent camera. I definitely will look at Panasonic again in the future. And I did do a tutorial video for them so that they would know how to go through the menu settings. I'm not sure if I'll post that, but go ahead and leave a comment down below if you want to see more videos like that. We can always have them up for people to watch, but it's just basically me going through the basic settings that I think are the most important for them and showing them what's in all the menus. Phenomenal camera. If you're looking for your first camera to start doing YouTubing and vlogging, this is a great option. Again, still recommending the EOS R. I still think it's a great buy. I'm still not selling it, but this is awesome as well. If you don't have the budget for the full frame glass, this is a great alternative. I'll say that. Okay, we'll see you in the next one. I hope you like and subscribe, and thanks so much for watching. Take care, guys.